Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk and ELT. So I did a episode about are you actually teaching the way that you think you are? And it was more geared towards like freelancers and things like that, but it got me to thinking. It just always rolling around in my head, these little ideas. It got me to thinking about schools and the promises that schools make. So let's get into that. The title of this episode, where we're going, is that high pressure enrollment does not equal sustainable quality. Let's dig in. So every term, we know this as teachers. If you've been in the industry for even a year, you know it's like November, even October, at the end of October, it starts trickling. November, drop off. December, people ghost you. January, oh my God, we need to get the numbers up. And then there is a little lull, at least here in Brazil, there's a little lull in June, July, because kids are on vacation and people just can't deal with it. So they end up bailing on their English classes. Happens. Every blessed term we have this every semester. The beginning of every semester, there's always mild panic, and it starts again. We need more students. We need to fill the seats. We have this class. They need another one. We've got to hit our targets. No exception. Blah, blah, blah. We got to break even. Blah, blah, blah. Right? Lots of pressure. So with that pressure, if you have a sales team, the sales team just starts to kick it into overdrive, and they're just well, we all know how I feel about salespeople, so I'm not a huge fan. I think sales and marketing is a form of manipulation, and it can be either ethical or unethical. And I think more often than not, people tend to, with additional pressure, like starting of semesters, starting of school years, they tend to go more the unethical route. And I just find it, anyways, I won't go on the salesperson route today. Anyways, social media ads ramp up, drop in dollars like bank into social media campaigns to try and get more visibility, more likes, more followers, all that. Ugh. And then inevitably this happens. It happens at every school, even if they have a strict policy in the beginning. Free trial classes, they just start getting thrown around like Halloween candy. Like, it's fine, trick or treat, have some. No big deal. And then sometimes, not always, but sometimes people then start bending the intake criteria. Well, this person can't commit to a schedule. This person doesn't want to sign a contract. This person said that they'll only start with them and their two kids if they get a discount off of something. So then we have rules, we have a system, and then everything gets thrown out the window because everyone's in a panic. Now, what happens? Well, we hit our numbers. We got the enrollments. Like, great. But you got them in a way that is not sustainable for the school, because high pressure enrollment does not build a sustainable school. I will say this loud and I will say this proud. It does not build a sustainable school. It builds a fragile one. Fragile like most people's egos. Where student expectations are set very, very high, completely misaligned with what your team can realistically deliver, teachers are forced to absorb all of the overpromised bullshit that admins, team leads, salespeople, they just go off because they need to hit the numbers instead of realizing this person would close with us, but it's probably not going to be good for the school because we're going to spend time, money, energy. We're going to have to pay someone to enroll them, get them started. We have to pay the teacher, and within a month or two, they're going to be gone. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I see it happen a lot. I think this is what the franchises are up against. There was a franchise school here in my city that closed down. They were open for like two or 3 years, closed down because what happened? I'm not going to say what franchise it was, but it was a franchise, like the usual franchise English schools that we see all over the place. Huge franchise, big name. And in the beginning, lots of people, students rolling in all over the place, lots and lots of people. And then people started studying there and they realized, oh, this is the same as every other franchise. I'm in a huge class. I have to pay for my materials. I have a 6 or 12-month contract, usually 12-month contract. I'm stuck here. I can't commit to coming to classes twice a week, 3 times a week, like I said I would, because students are very optimistic in the beginning. Yeah, no, it's going to be a priority. It's at the time it doesn't become a priority, but we need to make sure that it actually fits into their schedule to be able to transport themselves from work to the facility, to take an hour-long English class and then drive back across the city to go home, take a shower, eat dinner, be with their family, go to the gym. So, you know what I'm saying? Like they're stuff. Like we have to be realistic about it. And so what happened was then the ads came. Oh my goodness. The money that they spent on marketing was probably, I don't even want to know, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, because they tried to save it for years, and it was everywhere. Campaigns and social, the sponsored stuff. And like, I know how much that stuff costs. Like that can cost a lot of money. And once you start going in on it, so the algorithms in like Instagram, for example, once you start paying into like paid ads, you have to maintain that or more for the algorithm to actually work for you. This is my general understanding. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. But if you start paying for like thousands of dollars, highs, euros of ads in a month, and then you stop paying for it, like your engagement goes way low. And even if you're posting the same or similar content, they're not pushing it out to people because now you've fed the beast. So, and their sales department was bigger than their teaching department. I mean, it was just insanity. Closed because nobody had any results. This is why you should probably listen to people who are in the pedagogical side of schools, because if you have results, there's another anecdote. There's a school here in my city. It's a private school. It's been around for 25, 30 years maybe. It has straight grammar translation, huge classes, and the teachers are super strict. Like it's like almost militant. I've seen it. I've seen it. I know teachers that work there, and I also have had students who have studied there. And actually, as much as everybody hates it, the kids, that it's primarily like a teenager, like a children's school, not little ones, but like 10 and up, like 10 to 18. The kids that leave actually have results. They hate every minute of it. They hate every minute. No one I know that went there was happy while they're there, but they're grateful that they went. And the school is always full of kids, always full of teenagers. They don't have the best methodology. They don't even have the most certified teachers, the qualified teachers. The environment is tense because it like really intense too. They have like where you have to read and you have like vocabulary lists. It's like militant there, and it's a lot of it's not like, oh, read a page or two. It's like read a whole book. It's a lot. But they have results. The kids that go to that school, I'm not promoting any of the practices that they have there. They have results. Been around for 30 years, and it's always packed with kids. Packed because parents hear about it and they're like, oh, well, my friend's son or daughter speaks English. They passed the college entry exams. They got, they don't need to take English classes, private English classes while they're in university. They're fine. Their level is B2, C1. And all the 18-year-olds that are, that started when they were like 10 there, when they graduate high school, they've got minimum B2 level of English. They got results. And there's no marketing. They have a small I'm going to check. I am going to check. While I'm doing this podcast, I'm going to check. They have a small little following on Instagram. I can't remember how many, like a couple thousand. Do you know what I mean? It's not anything huge. It's again, it's a very small school, private school. Let me see if I can find it. Anyways, while I'm looking here. I could spell. That's half the problem. I can't find it. I can't find it off the top. Well, I wasn't thinking that I was going to use that, to be honest. So anyways, yeah, not that big of a following. It's like they don't even really post that much. They kind of do what the usual schools do. Like, oh, hey, we had Halloween party. You know what I mean? Like, oh, here's a couple pictures of our students with their teachers in class. Awesome. They're not doing ads, anything like that. Okay, so here's back to where I was going. Here's what happens when enrollment only becomes metrics. Like we need to hit this number. I need to have this number because I need this amount of money to pay off whatever. You place students into levels before diagnostics are done. If they haven't had like a first class, you know what I mean? You just start throwing people into places. I've seen it in especially children's schools. Listen, I have the utmost respect for people who teach children because it's like a whole nother level. Adults will voice when they have issues. Kids sometimes won't. And kids, they're going through like such complex processes in terms of cognitive development and all of that good stuff that really we have to think about how old are they? What's their maturity level? What experience do they have with the language so far? Just a whole bunch. There's like a lot of factors. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of factors. But they just throw people in. They're like, oh, you want to start classes? Have you taken classes before? The typical thing. Oh, like I've taken them, but I don't really, remember anything. And they're like, oh, you're a beginner. It's like, no. Okay. Marketing teams will do that a lot. Salespeople, because they don't know what they're doing, but they think they know what they're doing because they've been trained on the pedagogical practices. Please. You launch courses before the curriculum is ready. Oh, how I've seen this done. Before the curriculum is ready, before the teachers are trained, before the materials have been purchased, you're just starting courses. Oh, I need to get that money in. Like, calm down. If you're that desperate for money, then you need to like look at your business practices because if you're going to launch something, you better launch it properly because if not, then you're always going to be behind. You tell teachers just to adapt without giving them time or support to do so. It's fine. Here's some kids. I know you've never taught kids before, but here you go. No, we don't have any materials to help you out with that. Or, oh, here's this, here's that. I've seen it. I've lived it. Listen, it's a mess. It's a mess. I'm going to go into why afterwards. And finally, students start complaining. And then you're trying to scramble and fix it mid-course because everybody's burning out in the process. Your admin people, everybody. Teachers, admins, parents are getting frustrated. Students are not progressing. And this whole thing is like, it's not that the growth of the school is bad. No, everybody wants things to grow. Obviously, that's natural progression forward. But how you grow matters. How you grow matters. When you have these enrollment targets and you have no pedagogical support, undermining them, you know what I mean, helping them, and you just, let's go. You turn into those, do you know the I'm sure we've seen them. I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about. They just turn into like diploma diploma churning machines. They just like, oh yeah, you paid, okay, so you get a certificate. You paid, you get a certificate. It's like, what is the point of that? Teachers are going to be like, why are we giving these people certificates? And then your certificate is going to be devalued in the market at some point because people are going to be like, anybody can get that because you just have to pay for it. But the problem is teachers feel it first. So if you put these metrics above anything else, teachers always feel it first because they're the ones trying to, and it's not their responsibility, sold something, a very slick, cool onboarding pitch with, yeah, we can do anything. And then they get into the classroom and it's like, yeah, no, we can't really do anything. Like, that's not really how it works. We don't have teacher support. You don't have pedagogical underpinnings. You're going to have problems meeting your metrics. So they're just in a sticky situation because they're always trying to troubleshoot problems and like they've got the group dynamic issues because they got people just thrown into a group that don't belong into a group. It's demoralizing. Period. That's it. So eventually teachers will either disengage, they'll just kind of go through the motions. If people are complaining or not happy with their courses, they're not really going to notify you. They're not going to say, hey, I have this student, I think that probably we might want to consider another course of action or possibly having a conversation. Nah. You put them in a bad spot. So like, why would they raise a flag to you? No, people will just start leaving. So what I do now, after witnessing and living these types of situations, is I try the best I can to initially slow things down with schools before you speed them up. Because you have to have things in place before you can say, now let's ramp it up. You've got to have things in place. And it's better if you have things in place and you're kind of slowly testing them out before you get inundated with hopefully massive amounts of students. All I'm saying, I guess, in summary, to get through this episode, again, because I've been chatting for a bit now, is that long-term growth doesn't come with forcing people into the door. It's long-term growth, sustainable growth, is ensuring that people are there because they want to be there and making sure that they want to stay. That they want to stay because what you said aligns with what you do. The progress that they're getting is noticeable and for them substantial. I don't know. I just think if your enrollment process is just burning bridges before they even get fully constructed, that's just not the way to go. It could be me speaking from a seat of luxury. I don't know, because I'm happy and content with my small practice and then just doing consulting work on the side. I never had aspirations of being a school owner. I would probably, I'm already graying, so I would probably be very gray, and stressed out. It would just not be a healthy, it's just not for me with my personality. But if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. So you're not pulling your hair out at the end of the day, because every single semester beginning, we got to have more students. It's like, well, why don't you make sure the ones that are there actually stay longer than a semester? Because the lifespan of a student should be around 2 years in a school. At least 2 years. For them to get, a few proficiency levels ahead, and they're only studying a few times a week, they should be there at least a few years. And they should be totally content with what's happening in their programs. Not being sold something and then being given something else. That's a hard thing. All right, well, from me to anybody who's listening, build a model that supports growth and quality without sacrificing your teachers, sacrificing your team, and just kind of keep that quality over quantity. And I guarantee if you just quality over quantity every time, it'll grow because people will talk and they'll be happy. People will stay. They'll invite friends. It's usually how things are the most sustainable to grow. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got on this one. I'll see you guys later.